Today I want to talk about how deafness is, in my perspective, like an invisible disability. And I know some people will not like the word disability, whether you're able or disabled, or however you want to call yourself. And people say it as, oh, I don't like that word disabled. Anyway, that's not the point. I mean, if you want to learn more about the way I look at disability, which is the social model of disability, then you know that I'm thinking about it from a different perspective. And I'm not thinking about it as a medical condition where I am the problem and it's causing barriers in my life because I can't achieve things and, it can go on forever. It can go on forever. But it's a topic that I have talked about before. Check it out there. But in terms of deafness as an invisible disability, because it kind of is, isn't it? Until you are wearing hearing aids or cochlear implants, then maybe it's slightly noticeable. But if you are like me, where I don't wear it all the time, sometimes I do, my hearing aids, then it's not that obvious. And that is a good thing and a bad thing. Now, I say a good thing because when I was younger, I used to just not show that I am deaf in a certain way. I just don't want people to know at all. I just wanted to live my life as it is, as normal as possible. I didn't really want to show that I have something behind the scene that is preventing me. Part of it because I was embarrassed, part of it because I wasn't really brought up in the environment where there were people like me. So it was kind of hard to be different in a certain way, and I'm already different enough as it is. But it's an invisible disability, and that means I had to speak about it. And part of the reason why I am doing all this content on my website and YouTube and podcast, I talk about it a lot because it's not obvious when you talk to people, unless then you can see maybe even signing as well. So invisible disability is a good thing and a bad thing. So from a good perspective, then you can just continue on as normal and people are none the wiser, and you kind of maybe fooling people thinking that you are, quote, normal. But I've learned the hard way that it actually made things more difficult for me. And because I surround myself majority of the time with hearing people when I was in school and university and jobs, then I had to just follow along and pretend, but it was so hard. So for example, having conversations, then you get concentration fatigue, that gets very, very exhausting. Or if they want to go to the cinema and then you want to watch a movie together, but every time I go to cinema with friends, they're not captioned, and I have never been to a cinema with friends where I understood the storyline because I couldn't hear what was going on and had that conversation afterward. That was not only exhausting, but it's very lonely as well. But people are not aware of it. Now, part of it is my fault. Maybe I should have said something. But again, the perception is that you are the problem, and that is the environment that I kind of had around me, and I just didn't feel comfortable talking about this invisible disability. Then I talk about it some more, and I think it definitely has made a difference in my life because it allowed me to be more comfortable with myself. But then also it allowed me to just not be afraid of asking for things that should be there in the first place. Captions on videos, for example, or, if you're going to be in a noisy environment, then why are we in a noisy environment? Can we not just talk somewhere quiet? And that will benefit everyone, not just me. Then I got more comfortable doing this content and sharing information, supporting other people. And then I surrounded myself with deaf people, and I play football with a deaf football team as well. And that allowed me to be more comfortable with who I am and not to be ashamed of this invisible disability, and not to worry about wearing hearing aids in public and signing in public. I don't really care about that anymore. I do it. Hearing aids, I still have a love-hate relationship with it, but I don't not wear it because of people. I don't wear it because in a certain environment, I'm just not comfortable with it in terms of what I'm hearing is overwhelming, so on and so forth. And there are a slow movement where in society, at least for me in the UK, there are signs of people being made aware that a disabled person is not just a person in a wheelchair. It could be many things, and you might not be able to see it either. And that is something that is very slowly, I've noticed, is happening more and more. And I remember seeing it very, very clearly when, for example, you see the accessible toilets. And most of the time, you tend to see the symbol, the universal symbol of a person in a wheelchair. But then gradually, I am seeing that there's a sign that says not all disabilities are visible. And I think that's a very, very good thing, because people just have that perception that you're disabled, wheelchair users. That's it. But that's obviously not true. It's such a broad topic. For me, in terms of being deaf, that is obviously not very obvious, but maybe I just should make it more obvious by wearing hearing aids and stuff. But at the same time, society should not be looking at every single person as someone who's able. You just never know what is going on deep inside a person. And of course, I'm talking emotionally, but also mentally, physically, everything. Some people even have like badges, just proudly wearing the badge say I am deaf, or just some people even have like badges just to proudly display their visibility that are not visible. So for example, I am deaf, or even an instruction that says, for example, I need to lip read you, or face me, or anything like that, so I can lip read you. Those little things, little subtle instruction, because again, it's not so obvious, but some people just wear it with pride. And it's just a nice thing, I suppose, people just be proud of their identity. And people who are, get this, people who are actually proud of their disability. I know a few people who are actually proud of being a wheelchair user. Now, I know for some people that boggles their mind, but why should it? If that person is comfortable with themselves and comfortable with their identity, why should that be weird? First of all, it doesn't affect you. Let that person be. But that's a weird concept that people have in terms of disability. However, invisible disability is not so obvious. So just making sure that you're aware that, yes, being deaf is an invisible disability, but be aware of maybe subtle things. Like, for example, when someone is really straining to hear in a noisy restaurant, maybe that's a clue, maybe that's a sign, maybe you want to make it easier. Or if someone is just obviously wearing a hearing aid and cochlear implant, then do the thing that we should be doing, like face them, you're in good lighting, make sure that you speak, facing them so that they can lip read you and it's not noisy, so on and so on. I've talked about this a bunch of times. So yes, that's kind of it with invisible disability. My question for you though is, if you have an invisible disability, do you have some sort of signals or clues that let people know? So for example, you may have those badges, or you have some kind of technology that you use that make people aware. So hearing aids, for example, are they there for clues, or are they there for you? But do you do it because you want people to know, or do you because you are proud of it? I'm really curious about how you do it, because I sometimes say up front if I'm meeting someone new, or just send them a link to my YouTube channel and there you go, I talk about it all the time. Why? Because I live it. What do you do? I'm really curious to know what you do, because I'd love to learn from your own experiences as well, regardless of whether you are deaf or not. Maybe there are some crossovers with different disabilities. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment down below, and while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe, like, heart, fist bump, high five, everything. I'd really appreciate it. It really would mean a lot to me. And of course, I'll be back soon. And in the meantime, I will speak to you again soon. Take care.